And we're live.
We're live again.
Good to be back.
That's right, Mike. So today we're going to be talking about something that's really important for every business. The three things that every business needs today to be successful. Okay? And what would you think those things be?
Well, you need to sell. I mean, I think that
Sales.
sales is the first. Well, you could argue that before sales, you have to find the customer.
Okay? So customers,
So, marketing,
marketing.
right? So, you have to find the customer. So, that's the marketing. Then you sell them. That's the sales. And then the third one is
Customer service.
you have to take care of that customer.
Right. So what I have is the three most important things that a business needs today, and someone could argue that businesses have needed always. Okay? It's sales, customer service, and marketing. Okay?
Yeah.
Now the question becomes is which one do you think is most important? Which one is second in line? And which one is third? And there's been a ton of debates about that, but
Yeah.
what do you think?
I think that I think that I could argue marketing. Marketing would be the most important one. People need to know that you have a product or service and they need to know you exist. They can't buy your product or your service if they don't know you exist. So I think that marketing might be the number one. I mean, I've always been in sales, so I always thought sales was the most important
Mm-hmm.
because I was in it and I thought that's the most important aspect. Without sales, you have no customer. But the marketing part is what actually brings the sales in. So I think it might be marketing.
So you would say marketing is the most important.
I think so.
What about these companies that started in garages, like Microsoft, like Dell? They started, in a little corner of a place somewhere. They didn't have any marketing.
Well, eventually they had to market it.
Sure.
I mean, I think that the story goes with Jobs is that he went to a meeting and he promised that was it Jobs or Bill Gates?
Sounds like Gates.
Was it Gates? That
Yeah.
he promised he would get a certain amount of computers to them, and in the meeting, and he was completely, he wasn't able to produce that, but he got the deal, and then he went into production. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other companies that have done it in other ways. I do think that marketing might be the most important one of the three. They're all very important. It's the Holy Trinity.
The Holy Trinity. Yeah, you got that right. I don't think that any company can sustain itself without doing an excellent job in these three areas. Okay? I personally feel that sales is the most important. Okay? Running a close second by customer service, and running very close third. I mean, these guys are seconds away from the finish line, the marketing. The reason I believe that sales is the most important is because you can argue that without sales and revenue, sales brings in the revenue, there'll be no marketing and there'll be no customer service. I've heard that said before, and it makes sense to me. If you have a very good product and you do a lot of marketing, okay, and you don't get any sales, then it turns out that you have a good product that doesn't have a need out there. So the marketing went out the door and there is no customer service. But that can be argued, like you said. So,
Well, so the devil's advocate there is you can have excellent marketing and you can have really poor sales, but you have such good marketing that you're going to end up selling a whole bunch. because you have so many people coming through that door.
Yeah, well, if you talk about today's business nowadays, where you have the internet and you have
Which costs you nothing.
which costs you
So you
nothing.
don't really need sale. And I'm thinking, like, even if you go back to the door-to-door salesman, that was their marketing. It cost them whatever it cost him to get from his house to each door. But really, it was minimal cost. It's more so that was the marketing effort, and then the sales came after. So I just think, like, you can be excellent at sales, but if you don't have anyone to talk to, you could be the best closer. You can have a 99% closing ratio, but if you have no one to talk to or not enough people to talk to, then I don't think you're going to do too well.
Man, you make a very good argument. Okay, very good argument. So what you're saying is that marketing to you is the most important one.
Yeah, I think excellent marketing with okay sales, a company can exist. Very poor marketing, excellent sales, I think that's going to be challenging. More challenging, because the other aspect is, like, if you have excellent marketing and poor sales, you can improve on your sales. So it's like, oh, we're only closing 1 out of 10 people. What are we doing wrong? Let's improve on that.
Well, let me throw something else in the mix. What about the product?
Well,
Some
you have
people would argue that the product has to be excellent or else. Like, for example, in the restaurant business, let's say you've got the best uh, tamales in town, the best. I go to places because of the food, you know? Sometimes they don't have the best service,
yeah.
but I put up with that a bit because of the sake of the food.
I think as we're talking about this, I'm realizing you can argue any of the three and make a solid point, and you could probably convince me that that one that you're choosing, customer service or whichever one, is the most important. Because I'm also thinking, as you said that, think of the companies, restaurants that have a very poor product and are multi-billion-dollar companies. Now, is the product that poor if they're a multi-billion-dollar company? Well, when you stand it against another product, you're like, there's a significant difference. If you get a McDonald's hamburger and you put it next to a gourmet burger, you can, tell the difference from a mile apart. But why is it that the McDonald's hamburger and the franchise is a multi-billion-dollar company? It's not necessarily the greatest product.
Not necessarily, but their marketing is tremendous
Their marketing.
and their pricing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that comes into the pot,
Yeah.
Marketing, pricing, product, customer service.
Yeah.
I still believe that without sales, everything will crumble.
Yeah.
Because if there's no sales, there's no revenue. And the revenue has to be allocated appropriately. And sometimes you have emergencies where you need cash to completely unexpected.
Yeah.
Completely unexpected. Something happens that you need cash to, whatever the case may be, cover payroll. Okay? You spend too much on the marketing, or there are unexpected costs involved
Sure.
as you scale any business.
So if we say sales, if we were to dive more into sales, what do we mean by it? You mean revenue, just gross revenue?
Well, yeah, because I know that you have a lot of businesses nowadays where they say, hey, you can work at your phone or your computer, and you don't need to get a lease on a building, office space, all that stuff. The older way of thinking that, okay, I'm going to open a business, I'm going to go get an office and get a lease. You need some money up front, okay? And without the sales to produce those revenues to continue that flow gets interrupted. All the marketing and all the customer service it's not going to help you because you don't have a constant flow of revenue.
Yeah.
This might be a slightly older way of thinking because I know some young people that are making good money using the internet, okay? And all they do is they have a product, they sell the product, they don't even buy the product until it's sold, and they don't even touch it. It gets mailed directly to the purchaser.
Yeah.
And that is tremendous because you don't have inventory.
Yeah. I mean, it changes the way that traditionally, business was ran.
Right.
Same with marketing. With
Oh,
the internet, you can market for free.
right. So, and it's interesting because you don't have inventory at hand that you have expended capital to, but you do have inventory because you can just request it online. Okay? Now, a furniture store cannot work that way.
Yeah.
A furniture store has to have a showroom, and you have to have capital investment in order to have furniture for people to come. And traditionally they sit on it, they this and that and whatever. Then later on, IKEA came along with just one product, tons of stuff being forwarded to you. And even, you buy furniture online now. Just because you look at it, you're able to see the
Yeah.
dimensions, flip it around, put it upside down, whatever. You do practically the same thing with cars. So businesses have changed a lot. Uh, but I still maintain that sales, it's the top one. But,
Yeah.
I see your point in the marketing part.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, no, I think that sales is crucial, because it is the revenue and it is what allows you to, like you said, pay for unforeseen costs or payroll or other things. I look at when you said things have changed and having inventory like at a furniture store. I think of Tesla. I think one of the things that Tesla did, and I don't think they were the ones that invented this, but I think what it set them apart was no dealerships or minimal dealership presence. It was you order it at a showroom, which the showroom I went to one in Pasadena had like maybe 3 cars in the showroom or 2,
Mm-hmm.
but you customize your car, you build it, and then it gets shipped to you. So they don't have to pay for all the land that and the inventory that a traditional dealership has to pay for. And I think all dealerships eventually should go that route. A little showroom, show you the main cars, and then you order it and it gets sent to you. And then because car dealerships are these huge lots, and people just waiting there, for somebody to show up. But I would be interested to see
What happens in the future with car dealerships?
and what percentage of sales from a car dealership are online sales and people walking in. So for example, I know people that they buy the car before they get to the dealership. They just pick it up at the dealership. But everything has been sold already, prearranged. All they're doing is picking it up. So what do you need the dealership for?
Not much.
You don't really need it to look at the
No,
car
because
and
once the
everything.
vehicle is paid for, it can be shipped to you. Wow.
So, but yeah, that's no, I agree. Sales is extremely important, and I think that sales is a really cool skill that one can improve on. Um, I think psychology is the majority of sales.
And one more thing that I'll add to this is innovation. Because with this ever changing world that we live in, innovation, creating new ideas, is becoming extremely important for people to survive.
Yeah.
And, and new businesses get created. For example, I was reading an article yesterday, actually, that there's a lot of commercial space that's going vacant because of all the things that have happened lately. And so some of those commercial office spaces, there's a big push to convert them to apartments so that people can rent them. And apparently, there's a lot big money in the billions going into that push. There's more and more people. There's a lot of office space that's completely vacant, not producing revenue. And there's a big push to convert those spaces into apartments for people to rent and live in the cities. Very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So,
we were talking about, or you were talking about earlier, companies are asking their people to return. So
return to the cities or to
Correct.
return to the
so companies that
to the
had
place
gone
of work.
right, companies that had gone remote and those offices went vacant, now those companies are asking some of their people to come back. Some of them are requiring it, that you have to come back. We were talking to a gentleman that works at JPL, and he was saying that
Oh yeah,
2 days, I think he said 1 or 2 days.
3 days a week.
Was it 3 days?
I think it's 3 days a week.
That they have to go back to the facility. Even though everyone was working remote, or a lot of people initially, they gave you the option, do you want to work remote or not? If you chose remote, you could be 100% remote. But now they're requiring you to come back.
Now, do you remember why he said that?
Well, he was specifically was talking about spreading of ideas.
That's right.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's many reasons why.
Well, the one thing that he said was once you get the people together, like engineers, in one room, and they're all looking at this sophisticated machinery that they're trying to create, improve, develop, when they're together, the creative juices start flowing. And one idea gets bounced off another person. And he said that was missing when you were just at home in your computer, Oops.
That's going to hit the microphone hard. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool that he was saying that just by talking, you're having lunch together, ideas get spread casually, and that working remote couldn't do that. Even though you have meetings and everything on your computer, you're not in the room together. It's different. So yeah, so those vacant buildings right now, they're vacant. I wonder if people are going to start moving back into commercial buildings. Businesses are going to start moving back in, because you had businesses that went 100%, work from home.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
I know. I just don't know that you can sustain that and produce growth and revenue just working from home. There's so many distractions at home.
Yeah.
You've got kids, dogs, cats,
Yeah.
all kinds of things at home, and I, for one, sometimes I need to
Go to a destination.
yeah, go to
Yeah.
a destination, go to an office.
Yeah.
But very interesting things. Anyway, I believe that in order to have a successful business today, these three are crucial.
Oh, absolutely.
And as we said, there's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that I love the sales part. So I mean, I agree with you, but it'd be interesting to hear, what other people have to say about it. But the three have probably been debated forever. Which are the most important ones.
I agree.
So it was sales, marketing, and customer service.
Yes.
I mean, customer service, is it Richard Branson that talked about his employees were his number one customer, because
and his number one priority.
right, because they're the ones taking care of the customers. If your employees aren't happy, then your customers won't be happy.
That's right.
So he valued customer service, number one.
Number one, that's right.
So, and he's obviously made it work.
Oh,
With
yeah.
Virgin
Can't argue with
Mobile
him.
and airlines, all that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I remember him saying, my customers are extremely important, but my number one priority goes to my people, my employees. Because if they are happy, they're going to make exactly what you said, my customers happy.
Yeah.
And so that's a good point. That's excellent. And for sure, he's worth millions and millions of dollars. He's definitely made it work. So
Yeah.
You'll make a believer out of me.
I think the three need to be prioritized. All three of them are extremely important, because if you only focus on marketing and sales, you're not taking care of the customer. They're not going to return, or they're going to start bad mouthing your company. What if you took care of the customer? Not only would they come back, they'll refer you, they'll talk good about you. It's just all around. You need all three. I don't think it's kind of like when there's an imbalance, let's say in an organism or something, or like in the gut. You don't have the proper bacteria in the gut, and one overpowers the other one. You need, what's it called when there's a symbiosis, right? That's the state of,
I think
it's the state where everything is balanced, and that's the state that as a business we need to be in. You have your sales in line, your marketing first, sales in line, and then you're taking care of the client. And one thing that I think on the specifically, if we talk about sales, one thing that is extremely important is measuring sales, because I myself didn't used to measure, and sales were just happening, and it wasn't really an intentional like figuring out like what steps did I need to take to produce X amount of sales. So how many people do I need to talk to produce X amount of sales? What's the closing ratio and all that. And I think if you're in sales, you need to measure how many sales you've done, how you're calculating it, because if not, it's kind of just winging it, right? I mean,
yeah, and you set your goals to meet those sales expectations.
Yeah.
So you have to reach those goals. You shoot for that. If you have it, if you're measuring it and you're visualizing it, I believe it's easier to attain it. Because if you're not measuring, then yeah, you're winging it. You don't know where you're at.
Yeah, and
Excellent.
it allows you. Some people I know are so good at that they can say, hey, if I spend X amount of marketing dollars, I know it will generate X amount of revenue. That they figured it out already, because they know exactly where to put those marketing dollars. So all they have to do is pump up the marketing dollars if they need to pump up the revenue.
Wow, very good. So the marketing is leading the okay, excellent. Very good point. Yeah.
That's, one example of it.
Great. Well, thank you for your input. I really love it.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
You made a believer out of me.
Well, I think it's good. I think all three together.
Sounds good.
We'll wrap it up there.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool.